Hello, everybody. I'm back and I'm gonna start with my running away phase after the first time. And I got home, um, the hammer came down on me, and I was taken to a mental institution and had an appointment with a psychiatrist and talked to him on seems like 4 or 5 different occasions and took lots of tests and IQ tests, things like that, putting puzzles together, timed psychological tests, all kinds of stuff. I was really good at covering up a lot of abuse that took place in my childhood. Um, that wasn't just by my parents, but by other people. So um, I fudged a little bit on some of those questions to protect myself, I felt, and to protect my parents as well. Um, anyway, after a long time, it seemed like of going there and being tested and things like that. They got me, mom and dad, in the room, and the doctor told them that I had an above average IQ. He said it was pretty high. I don't remember what the number was, but um, he said that he didn't have any reason to believe that I lied, and that like that I seemed like a pretty normal kid, and that he would like to do some family counseling with us, and that was a big no right away. They weren't up for that. They turned it down, and we left. This place was where people with mental illnesses actually lived or stayed there, for a recovery period or something. Anyway, the threat was they were going to have me put in there. They tried. That didn't work. So somehow they got this guy who was a probation officer from a small town near ours, and he worked at the courthouse there in that town, and they somehow got him to meet with me once a week and basically treat me as though I was a hardened criminal. And I would go in the room with this guy, and he would just give me the same shit my parents gave me. Your parents brought you here because you're running around and you're acting like a whore, and why do you have the clothes on that you're wearing? You look like a whore. Just craziness. And there's probably like no record of this. This is probably, this was all like under the radar. Um, well, I had enough of that. Not to mention, okay, the silent treatment at home was pretty much constant unless there was rage. There was no middle ground. Um, just crazy making. Okay, before I go any further about my running away, for the young people who are watching this, um, don't follow my example, please. This is not the answer. If you are a victim of narcissistic abuse in your family, you need to confide in somebody at school, and you need to be straightforward, and you need to say, I am a victim of emotional, physical, sexual, whatever the abuse is. You just go to somebody at your school and say that. If that's not possible, um, the Child Protective Services, the Department of Human Services, all those types of places will have a number for you to call to report your own abuse. Report your own abuse. Don't run away. You know, it's there's wolves out there, okay? Do not do that. Go to these agencies that are taking children out of homes all the time for little crap, like, you know, the parents had a couple joints in their nightstand by their bed, and, you know, they'll take kids away for anything. If you have trouble, go to these people. I have confidence they will get you out of that situation. Arm yourself with the knowledge from this community. Learn the terms, use those terms, go in there, tell them you are being triangulated, you're being gaslit. Tell them that if this is so, if you're having physical symptoms because of the abuse, if you can't concentrate because of the abuse, tell them, tell somebody. They will get you out of there. They will help you. They will get you counseling. If your grades are slipping because of your abuse at school, tell somebody, or because your abuse at home, tell somebody. Go to them. Tell them you need help and you're not getting it from your parents. And somebody will listen to you. Okay, and if you have trouble finding help, just leave me a message. I will look up DHS's phone number for you, or CPS's phone number for you, wherever you are, or you are probably very capable of doing that since you're watching this video and you're getting around on the internet. So I have confidence in you. Do the right thing. Go to one of these places and get some help. Okay, so now I'm going to go on with my story. But thinking about it, it's very jumbled up. There's 2 times I ran away. I can't differentiate them from each other. I remember how I got away both times. I don't remember how I got back both times. And then the rest of it's all kind of jumbled. I can't tell you if it was the first time or the second time. You know, there's a lot of running and hiding and catching taxi cabs at 3 a.m. in the morning. But craziness just went on. So, but anyway, the first time, I believe it was the first time, again, I just had gotten off a babysitting job, and so I had a little money in my pocket again, maybe $5, $8, something like that. And I got off at around 10:30, and between 10 and midnight, my parents were both at work. My mom went in at 3rd, and my dad was on 2nd. So the people I babysat for dropped me off, and my ride was waiting in the driveway for me to get me out of there. So the lady who dropped me off didn't think nothing of this truck being in the driveway. So I go in the house, and I got my jewelry box, and I got like a grocery sack full of clothes this time, and went out to this girl's house. She was 17 years old. She was pregnant. Her boyfriend was a little bit older. They lived on a farm that was given to them by his mother. Anyway, it was in the middle of nowhere, and I stayed out there for days. Knew I couldn't stay anywhere very long because parents would be looking for me. So I ended up going to the cities and had a couple girlfriends that lived there, and they each rented a room in the same house owned by a drug dealer, and they hid me out there. And you know, I mean, I was lucky to get anything to eat. I couldn't leave the house. I would be recognized. I wasn't, you know, I was just very frightened to even leave this house. There's a lot of shady stuff goes on, you know, in a drug dealer's house, and we, you know, I I was no saint. I did partake in all of it. Basically, was smoking pot, but there was acid and stuff like that. And then, anyway, I was there for a while, and the cops came and they knocked on the door, and somebody ran up the stairs and told me, and I flew out of that house. And this was the middle of winter. And I'm sorry if I laugh. I'm not laughing out of pride or anything like that. I'm laughing because it is ridiculous. Okay. So, and I have to laugh, you know? I do. And anyway, so I had dyed my hair blonde for a disguise, and just to mention that. And anyway, when they come to the door, I ran out the back door. The cops were parked in front. And it was in the middle of winter. I didn't have my shoes. I was barefoot. Didn't have a coat. I just took off running through yards, through alleys, hiding behind bushes. And then I finally got to another friend's house, and they let me in. And they let me stay there a little while, and they were all doing drugs, so they were kind of paranoid to have me there, so they made me leave. And I left, and I went back to the original house that I just came from, and to get my shoes and my coat and stuff. And when I got there, surprisingly enough, the guy who owned the house told me I didn't have to leave, that he would keep hiding me there. And I'm sorry. Anyway, I can't remember if I stayed there or not. Anyway, I'll go to the second time that I left, because this is where stuff starts jumbling together. The second time I left, I had a boyfriend this time, and I was 15 and he was 17, and I was going to run away. He knew it, so he talked his mother into driving out to this little town I lived in and picking me up at like 8 in the morning when I'm supposed to be getting on the school bus. I don't know how he pulled that off, but he did. And so I had a grocery sack full of clothes again. My mother's in bed when I get up. I got myself up to go to school, and Mom and Dad are in bed. They don't get up. You know, I just got up, got myself to school, so they don't notice I walk out with this bag of clothes. And she came and got me, and went to his house, and she did ask me why I had a bag of clothes. And I don't know what I said. I can't remember. Or if somebody interrupted for me, I don't remember. But anyway, I'm at his house, and I'm sleeping in the attic, and they're going about life as normal. Hold on, I've got someone at my door, I do believe.